It's not the caffeine. The caffeine's a catalyst.
Pucker performance.
Oh!
You guys already got it, though. You need more? You got it. Nice catch.
Oh, three's good. Oh, three's normal. Will be outstanding in about 10 minutes. I had one guy do that at when we were in Austin, because we had the booth and we were handing out samples. We had a little bucket of 0N, and the guy was talking to me. He's like, "What does this do?" I'm like, "It increases dopamine and serotonin." I'm like, "You ever microdose or anything?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I do that all the time." I'm like, "Well, this is like microdosing, only better." He's like, "How many do you use?" I'm like, 3. I'm like, "You should try one." He's like, "I'll take 3." I'm like, "All right. Here we go." So he took 3. We're having a conversation. He's like, how long does it take for them to work? Do you experience it the first time? I'm like, "Yeah, it'll kick in about 10 minutes. So we're having a conversation. He popped him pretty quick. We're having a conversation. About 5 minutes after, he goes, "Oh, whoa, this works." I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's your sign." But it was one of the fun things of having people just take one and then go about their business and come back to like, I want more of that. Do I have any now? But that's the fun part with 0N is it's the most.
I just like to ask you if you take this as a gift. I did it on your phone. It is taking the bad energy of a cell phone.
I don't have that energy on my phone, Gina.
No, it's not good to have a cell phone on your, and you know that. This is,
I don't have any mercury in my brain, therefore the EMFs don't affect me.
listen to me.
I reprogrammed my phone.
So
What?
this is changing the energy comes from outside. In my,
But I changed the energy on the inside.
it has an orthopedic program. It's an 80.
But it's a sticker. But it's a lotus. Should we put it on the phone? I'm not going to give you my phone. You might do something to it.
I know that. Okay. I don't do it. You have just
What?
get the upside out.
I want to do it on the case, though. You're being too difficult. Now my phone feels naked.
Yeah, but now you get a very
Rolling.
it is just changing the.
But it doesn't go on evenly. It's crooked. What happens if it's cockeyed? Is it going to be
check.
off a little bit? Does frequencies get scrambled?
Just changing the bad energy is a good one. And if you
I wanted the bad energy. I need more bad energy. It gives me an opportunity. It's like working out. Look at Peter. Peter has resistance that he works with, and he's got all the muscle from it.
yes, so I need it as well.
Well, there's bad frequencies on the phone. I'm like, you need those so your body works out. It works your brain.
Are you crazy, boys? Yeah, you get the water.
Is that my water?
Yes, I know.
Testing.
We're doing questions in a little bit. Yeah, they still do. Is it time? The The overachievers are here. Yes, I know. Let's go. Well, good. I'm going to sit down here. Well, the amalgam's in your teeth. I still have mine. Some. Then your teeth play one tune and your brain plays another one. All right, it's go time. If you're not here, well then you're not here.
Check.
No, you do
Back from lunch. We're gonna fly through a couple more things, moving towards a party. But
Yeah, maybe you can move it because she.
well, the second half of the show will be dedicated to more entertainment. I give you
Can move more on the left side.
Dr. Christina Rahm.
Well, I'm only making an introduction, but I wanted to introduce you all since we have known each other the longest. I know you just but Dr.
Yeah,
Keshkesh and
amazing.
Shusha will be
Thank you very
presenting
much.
today, and then later with the doctor-to-doctor meeting as well. But it's with my great privilege to introduce Dr. Keshkesh, and many of you guys know him, but as we discussed earlier, he is one of the most famous doctors in Europe. He has worked with the most influential people in Hungary, and so has Zsuzsa. I look at them as people that represent our lifestyle brand, not just health and wellness, but overall improvement of humanity. And I think I recently was awarded an honorary doctorate in humanities, and I think it's because of the I got to nominate someone, and so we'll discuss this later. But these are two of the people that first came to my mind because of what they've done all over the world, not only in Hungary. And so it is with a great pleasure that I introduce Zsuzsa and Dr. Keshkesh, truly amazing human beings.
Thank you, Christina. It's always hard to say anything after what Christina has been telling about us. You know, it's really, thank you. It's so great to belong to this fantastic group of people. As I said, because basically our mutual goal is to help in the short terms and in the long run, of course. So.
Először is nagy tisztelettel és óriási megtiszteltetés. Nagyon köszönöm, hogy itt lehetünk.
I really like to thank you that we can be here. This is fantastic, and we are very grateful that we are here today.
És ugye, amikor a Zoom előadások voltak, akkor mindig elmondtuk, hogy mikor lesz már, hogy személyesen találkozunk, és a többi, és most végre itt vagyunk.
When we had the presentations on Zoom, we always told you that we can't wait to the moment until we finally can meet in person, and finally we're here.
És hát az első, ez mindenki számára, ezt mindig el szoktuk mondani minden ilyen előadáson. Ez ugye a megfelelő rendeleteknek felel meg.
You know that it's from the legal point of view, it's also very important to always tell you and to read the medical disclaimer, which is true even for this presentation today. So I'm not going to read it, but you know what we are talking about. This basically, this presentation and information is provided for educational purposes, and it's not intended as a medical advice or substitute for medical advice by physician or other qualified healthcare professionals, and so on. So I think this is important for all of us to know. And I think we can move on. Yeah, I have to wash my
A mai előadáson néhány esettanulmányt szeretnék majd bemutatni. Ezek egyes esetek, de nagyon jellemző a pácienseim jelentős részére.
In this today's presentation, I would like to share a couple of case studies with you. But all individual cases are quite typical of the situation I meet when I meet with my patients. So even though these are of course individual cases, but they have, I would say, we could sum up the experiences from all of these individual cases to make some assumptions.
Ugye az első esetek, azok professzionális sportolókról fogok néhány információt megosztani. Versenyszerű is, meg egyéb a nem versenyszerű, inkább az ilyen, hát hogy is mondjam, ilyen hobbi sportolásból jövőknek a tapasztalatairól.
The first cases I'm going to share with you are going to be about professional athletes. From the one hand, they are competitive professional athletes coming from the Olympic movement, for example, and there are some other cases, well, also I would say professionally, physically tested people. They are not sort of athletes as we call them in the usual term, but they also meet with the physical challenges on a daily basis. So all cases are going to be interesting.
Egy dolgot el lehet mondani mindegyikőjükről, hogy extrém fizikai és szellemi kihívásoknak vannak kitéve.
Which is actually a general information about all cases, and all of them is that their body, mind and soul is basically always exposed to extreme physical, mental, I would say challenges. So in that sense, I would say in general, these cases are all the same in that term.
És akkor az előadás második részében pedig egy post-Covidról fogok egy kicsit beszélni, illetve a tünetekről.
In the second part of my presentation, I'm going to be talking about the post-COVID syndrome and many things that is relate to that.
Az elején ilyen idézőjelben általános dia. Ugye hát az, hogy egy profi sportoló hogy táplálkozik, milyen folyadékot, milyen fajta hatóanyagok kerülnek be a szervezetébe, az egyáltalán nem véletlen, illetve az nagyon fontos.
Just some, I would say, general informations at the beginning. If you're talking about professional athletes, of course, this is crucial. What kind of diet this and what kind of special personalized diet an athlete is receiving, and what kind of dietary supplements he or she can get, because performance has to be, I would say, supported by these extras.
Igen, tehát az üzemanyag, amit bevisznek, az kulcsfontosságú a teljesítményük szempontjából.
So the fuel the fuel intake for an athlete is absolutely a key factor from the outcome of the performance.
Igen, hogy a megfelelő módon kerüljön be, a megfelelő módon hasson a szervezetébe. Ez nagyon sokszor ezen az múlik, hogy valaki nyer, vagy mondjuk a 6. lesz egy olimpiai döntőben.
So believe it or not, it really can make a crucial difference what an athlete takes, how it takes it, when and how it is actually used in his or her body, and that can make a real difference between the winners and the 6th place in a final.
Én elég régóta dolgozom már sportolókkal, és azért is szeretek velük dolgozni, mert nagyon jól ismerik a szervezetük jelzéseit, tehát nagyon pontos visszajelzéseket tudnak adni arról, hogyha elkezdenek valamilyen egyéb készítményt fogyasztani, az jó-e neki, nem csinál semmit, közömbös, vagy nem jó.
I have been working with athletes for many years by now, and the reason I really like to work with athletes is because they are very body conscious people. They know their body and their reactions really well, probably much better than you know, a general patient who is not meeting these kind of challenges on a daily basis. So basically their feedbacks are really very useful. Even the smallest changes they can actually detect in their body, and they can tell me, which can give us very good data, very good I would say experience to actually to make a step forward. So their body conscious mentality is something that I think can help to all of us what an athlete is experiencing.
És ugye a táplálékon kívül, vagy hogy a mentális állapot az kulcsfontosságú.
Ist ja der mentale Zustand.
So besides, oh yeah, I can be a little older even. So besides of course the
Mentális állapot.
yeah, besides the intake, what they are actually having, from their daily diet and a personalized diet is just as important how their mental state of mind is going to be, especially during a competition, during a match, during in extreme and difficult situation. Because after all, the mental state of mind will be probably the final point, which decides between winner and losers, between good or better or best performance.
Igen, és ezek a hatóanyagok, majd az úgyis látszódnék a visszajelzésekből, hogy még tehát magára erre a mentális státuszra is, a mentális erőre is kedvező hatást tudnak gyakorolni.
These ingredients, these components, we will see can have even a very great impact on the mental state of mind. So, which is something that we haven't really understood so far, how you can really boost the mental state of mind of an athlete in crucial situations, which is, I think this is something that they are really looking for.
És akkor az első, itt gyakorlatilag a készítmények láthatóak. Most, mivel ugye abban a szerencsés helyzetben vagyok, hogy a Root csapatnak tarthatok előadást, ezért odaírtam, ugye ez a Proprietary Blend sorozat. Ezeket azért írtam, ezek a hatóanyagok, ezt már azért elég van, aki már tudja, és hogy ezeket alkalmaztam a javaslataim során.
So basically, well, I'm lucky enough now to talk to you who are all aware of the greatness of Root products. So when we have an ISNS presentation, of course, we only use the name of the ingredients and the components. But now, as you can see from proprietary blend number 1, all the way the series of the products, all the way the proprietary blend number 7 now, which is a fantastically growing number of supplements. So definitely, you all know the components, you all know the ingredients, but basically these are all the supplements I have been using in my case studies, either with athletes or with my other patients.
És az első esetnél egy 42 éves fiatalemberről szeretnék beszámolni.
In the first case, I would like to talk about a young man, a 42-year-old young man.
Aki több mint 20 éve harcművészetekkel foglalkozik.
He's been involved with martial arts for more than 20 years by now.
És az elmúlt 8 évben egy speciális, mondhatni így, hogy önvédelem vagy harcművészeti ágnak az európai igazgatója.
And in the last 8 years he has been director of a special self-defense system in Europe. I would say he's a leader of this kind of self-defense system in Europe.
És ha még az ugye ez nem lenne elég, tanít is, oktat hallgatókat.
If this burden for him would not be enough, then he's teaching, so he has students.
És több filmben, filmsorozatban is, mint ugye harci jelenetek koreográfusaként is szerepelt.
And above all, he has been also working as a stunt and as a fight choreographer in movies and films. So he's really exposed to physical challenges, I would say.
És igen, és mindenképpen fontos, ugye az a 8-10 óra naponta, ez így soknak tűnhet, de ő azok közé tartozik, akik nem csak megmutatják, hanem csinálják együtt a gyakorlókkal a feladatokat.
So the reason why I'm talking about him, because you could say that this 8 to 10 hours of physical activity could seem a lot on a daily basis, but he's the kind of person who is not only asking or showing what to do, but he's actually doing the exercises together with his students or with his partners.
Annyit elmondhatok így személyesen, hogy egyébként nem mellékesen a mesterem, hiszen én is ezt a fajta harcművészeti ágat gyakorlom.
Just to add some personal information to that, he's my personal trainer and coach because this is the kind of self-defense martial art that I'm practicing myself. Dr. Kecske is not me, of course.
És ugye ő mindig panaszkodott, az ilyen típusú emberek rengeteg dolgot kipróbálnak. Különböző teljesítménynövelőket, mindenfajta lát egy reklámot, vagy akkor mindig kipróbálja, hogy azt a fajta megterhelés, ami a szervezetének ki van téve, azt a fajta megterhelés próbálja kompenzálni, regenerálódni gyorsan, és a többi, és a többi. Tehát nagyon sokféle készítményt már kipróbál.
So he's a kind of personality who if he sees an ad, of course, that is, okay, this product will help you to recover quickly or even better, just because his body is exposed to this kind of extreme burden, of course, he tried a lot of things to recover quicker, to regenerate his body quicker. So basically, he has been through a lot of kind of things.
Ugyanáll a regenerálódás az elég gyorsan meg kell, hogy történjen, mivel hétközben az előbb említett feladatai vannak, hétvégén meg különböző szemináriumokat tart.
So it's important for him to regenerate his body, to recover quickly, because in the weekdays he's been doing what I've just shown you, and on the weekends usually he gives seminars as well. So I would say 24/7 he's been involved with physical activity.
És beszélgettünk, és akkor kérdezte tőlem, hogy hát tudok-e valami olyat, amivel esetleg, ezt a regenerációt gyorsíthatja. És volt egy nagyon nehéz időszaka, amikor tényleg minden napra több órára jutott valami, és nagyon-nagyon elfáradt.
And he asked me, because he had a very difficult period when he was really exposed to this kind of physical burden, if I could suggest anything that could help him to get through this difficult period.
Nyilván mondtam neki, hogy azért van több is.
Of course, I have something that I could suggest to you.
És nagyon nem részleteztem neki, csak azt mondtam, hogy majd a adagolásban lehet látni, hogy milyen módon javasoltam neki, és hogy a visszajelzés az nekem nagyon sokat számít, hogy milyen visszajelzést fog adni.
Okay, so basically you will see when I show you the dosage, how we started working together, and of course, which I was really interested in, his feedbacks to see what he actually experiencing.
Ugye, tehát mindene fájt, szellemileg és mentálisan teljesen ki volt fáradva.
So he was like, smashed. He was really physically tired. He had all kinds of joint pains. He had all kinds of, I would say, he was mentally even very tired. So there was actually really a need for help.
És akkor itt lehet látni, ugye az Heroin természetesen a Restore és a Clean Slate az egy stabil 3-as.
Okay, my first stable, I would say, basis, the three, Zero in the Restore and Clean Slate that I usually start with.
És akkor lehet látni, hogy én kicsit így a lépcsőzetes adagolás híve vagyok, vagy én így szoktam kezdeni, hiszen, tehát ezt ne felejtsük el, hogy 100%-ban természetes dolgokról van szó, de a jóhoz is hozzá kell, hogy szokjon a szervezet.
Okay, so from my side, usually I believe in a gradual dosaging, because even though we are talking about a 100% natural components and ingredients, but your body has to get used to the quality stuff as well. It's not so, I would say, easy to right away to adjust to something which is such a high quality as these ingredients and these products are.
És akkor ugye lehet látni, hogy azért ő mindenféle ilyen szintetikus dolgot is fogyasztott előtte. Hát nyilván az egy nagyon fontos, hogy azt kitisztítsuk, ugye? Tehát maga a méregtelenítés, a detoxikálás, vagy a szótid, ugye, ahogy ezt tegnap meghallottuk.
Detoxification. Saltiditation, I don't know what's the new word for that, but that sounds... So basically, as I said, he was taking all kinds of stuff. The first step was all kinds of synthetic ingredients. So the first step was basically to clean his body out of all of these synthetic remains and whatsoever. So detoxifying was the first step, which is of course not always easy.
Ugye ehhez tartozik, hogy a gastrointesztinális rendszert azt azért optimalizálni kell, hogy a felszívódás az optimális legyen.
So the first step that I always believe is one of the not the number one, even the step before is to prepare the gastrointestinal system to be ready for a better absorption. Without that, it's very difficult to actually experience the impact of even if these great ingredients, these great components. So the first step is, or then even one step before the first step is to make the preparation in the gastrointestinal system.
Ugye magával a clean slate-tel, ugye a Relief Greens csodálatos, tehát ezzel mind ezt el lehet érni, és utána elkezdjük felépíteni magát az energiaháztartás regenerálódását, a vitaminraktárakat feltölteni, az energiaraktárakat feltölteni, a nyomellemraktárakat feltölteni, tehát utána mindez szépen így lépésenként haladt nála.
So what I usually start with in this detoxifying movement is of course I use Relief Greens, which is fantastic, and Clean Slate together. And then when I can see that this detoxifying movement is going well, then of course the next step is to try to fill up the vitamin storages, the mineral storages in the body. So something that of course can give a support to this extreme physical challenge.
És akkor ugye itt viszonylag gyorsan jött az eredmény, mert ugye egy hét után már érezhetően ugye javult az állapota, a közérzete javult, ugye a koncentráló képessége.
It was actually a quite short and quite quick reaction to my treatment. After even the first 7 days, so basically after 1 week, he was coming back and telling that his ability to concentrate gradually started increasing. He was physically feeling much better, much more ready to do, and the recovery time started to shorten, which was really important.
És ugye akkor 2 hét után pedig gyakorlatilag ugye az előző állapotához képest 50%-kal javult az állapota, ami az ő helyzetében egy óriási javulás.
So basically after two weeks since we started working together, he was giving me the feedbacks. It's about 50% his feelings, the capability of concentration, the period of recovery increased 50%. So he felt much better.
Még egy plusz információ, hogy ő kicsit nem buddhista, de azt a vonalat követi, tehát ő rendszeresen meditál, stb. És ugye arról is beszámolt, hogy sokkal könnyebben, sokkal hatékonyabban és hatásosabban tud például meditálni.
So he's a Buddhist, and he was also telling me that when he was meditating, with the support of these ingredients and these supplements, he could meditate much better.
És még egy apró adalék, hogy ő dohányzik.
Something to add, that he's smoking.
És amikor ugye az elején elindult ez a méregtelenítés, akkor azt mondta, hogy érezte, hogy a bőrén keresztül tisztul meg a szervezete. Tehát érdekes, még ilyen nikotin illatú is volt a bőre egy ideig, amit így, akik a hozzátartozók is elmondtak neki, és utána gyönyörű szépen kitisztult.
Which is something that is quite interesting feedback, because usually when I'm talking to athletes, they're not smoking, but he was a smoker, and he said that when he started taking a clean slate and really
Az egész
basically
tisztulás.
when the detoxifying process started, he could really feel that he was sort of cleaning his body through his skin. So even the smell of nicotine was stronger as he was sort of relieving from this these toxins coming through smoking. So it was quite interesting. Even his people around him, his friends and family members were telling that he had a different smell, even a stronger smell. Even he was sort of probably smoking less because he tried to smoke less, but the effect was so strong.
Úgyhogy hát azóta is fogyasztja, ha nem is ilyen mennyiségben, nyilván egy csökkentett adagolásban, de azóta sokkal könnyebben tudja venni azokat az akadályokat, már fizikailag és mentálisan, mint előtte.
Ever since he's taking these products, of course we sometimes changing on the dosage on a daily basis. Now we, especially from the detoxifying side, we lowered the amount. But regarding the other supplements, of course, we're trying to help him really well.
És akkor a következő úriember, hát van, aki már ugye ismeri, mert őről már volt szó, már őről beszéltünk.
My other patient, probably many of you already heard of him, but it's not enough to talk about him about once or twice, because this is my added information. I know him for many years. He is a genius. He is really a genius, and a world record holder in open water swimming.
Igen, és ugye itt van egy felsorolva egy lista, hogy ezen az Ocean 7 sorozaton ugye ő teljesítette. Hát, hogyha néhány dolgot most akkor ugye elmondanál, hogy mi is ez az Ocean 7.
Just a few words for those who maybe didn't know. Attila Mányoki, who is currently a 43-year-old male professional open water swimmer. As I said, he's a world record holder in the Ocean 7 series. What is this Ocean 7 series? Basically, these are the seventh most difficult, I would say, swims between islands and the mainland. And basically, he's got now the fastest cumulative time in history, with 64 hours 33 minutes that he spent in water, in cold water, in warmer water, in wavy water, in water with sharks around him. So whatsoever, we just, it's like, as you can see, no neoprenes and whatsoever. It's just his body, and he's absolutely an extreme athlete in the physical and in a mental sense, of course, but he's a fantastic person in the same time, and he's the one who has fantastic feedbacks. He is a really body conscious personality, so he's one of the best patients of Dr. Kecskés, because he really knows what it takes to, for example, to swim from France to through to England, to the mainland. So he knows what kind of extreme weather your body can expose to, what kind of extreme physical challenges your body can expose to, and of course, from the mental point of view, is just as important.
Igen, és ő neki, ugye már őt sok éve ismerjük, ajánlottam már neki néhány készítményt is korábbról, másfajtákat, és ugye az utóbbi időben volt neki is egy nehezebb időszaka, amikor nagyon sűrű volt a felkészülés, megfelelő időben el kellett kezdeni a következő kihívást, és azt mondta, hogy hát kicsit úgy gyengébbnek érzi magát, de főleg szellemileg, tehát nem tud olyan jól, teljesen mondjuk az edzés végéig koncentrálni, fejben ott lenni, mint korábban, hogy ezzel tudunk-e valamit kezdeni.
He's my patient for at least 10 years by now, and he told me that as he was getting older, of course, it's not the physical challenges that he believes is getting even more difficult, but the mental burden that he actually has to bear. He says he felt his problem was that he cannot concentrate until the end of the practice. He loses focus. He cannot really be as sharp on his task as he used to be. So he said he doesn't know if Dr. Kecskes can help in that sense, you know, besides the physical support. But of course, that was something which was also, I think, a challenge for a doctor and also, of course, for the patients as well.
És ugye neki is egy kicsit bővítettebb terápiás javaslatot mondtam.
I gave him, I would say, an extended therapy in this time.
És lehet látni, hogy az arany 3-as az azért ott van a Clean Slate Zero in Restore, és ugye az előbb is ez a Relief Gains, és ugye ez a Mitochondrial Defense Shield, ugye ez, hogy is mondjam, tehát az egész együtt olyan nagyon kedvező és gyors, jótékony hatást gyakorolt a szervezetére, hogy ő maga sem hitt annak, hogy gyakorlatilag viszonylag rövid idő alatt mennyit javult az állapota.
Okay. The golden three, which I usually use, the Clean Slate Zero and a Restore, of course, it was a basis for my suggestions, which of course I added the Relief Greens and the Mitochondrial Defense Shield to him, and with the combination of these 5 proprietary blends all together actually created such a quick response, such a quick change in his work that it was, for him even, it was unbelievable.
Ugye nála azért arra mindenképpen figyelembe kell venni, hogy ő neki olyan a versenye, hogy elkezd úszni, és akkor úszik nagyon sokat, és ugye közben muszáj pótolni az elvesztegetett, az izzadással, stb. Elvesztegetett hatóanyagokat.
It's important to see in his case that he is not, of course, not swimming in a pool. So when he starts his next challenge, for example, now he is involved with the Stillwater 8 challenge, which is a very difficult one, and no one has accomplished it so far. So when he starts swimming, for example, I don't know, 40-50 kilometers in an open water, of course, in the meantime, with sweating and with the physical burden, he loses a lot of minerals, he loses vitamins, which has to replenish. It has to be somehow to be taken in during the swim.
Ezért én speciális koktélokat javasoltam neki, ugye, amit az úszás közben is el tud fogyasztani. Nyilván a Clean Slate az könnyű, aztán a Restore is, a Relief Greens is, tehát nem egyben, hanem ilyen különböző egyéb ilyen izotóniás italokba beletéve folyamatosan tudta fogyasztani őket. Még egy dolog, hogy ugye az éroin itt nagyon fontos lenne az ő számára, ezért nála azt csináltuk, hogy feloldottuk a kapszulát, szétszedtük és feloldottuk.
Okay, so basically I told him that he must during his swim sort of re-add all these materials and all these ingredients to his body. So what we did, that we actually made a cocktail. So like in isotonic water, we basically what we did with the zero in, which is one of the most important things, what we did was the capsules we opened up and we actually poured it into his drink. And of course, with the liquids, we had an easier task to do. But we made a nice, as I said, a cocktail, a blend that he could get while he was swimming in the water from the boat that is actually, just coming alongside of him. So basically, they, just hand it in the water. They can't touch each other, and then he could drink it. And of course, it was very important in order to get all these minerals, vitamins, or whatever it was, just leaving his body to get it again and regenerate his body.
És ugye azt a teljesítményt, amit ő csinálja, azt simán fizikailag azt nem lehet megcsinálni. Tehát ott a mentális erő a legnagyobb, és ez a legfontosabb, hogy azt is tudjuk regenerálni, ugye maga a úszás alatt.
Basically, what he's accomplishing from swim to swim, this is something that is cannot be done. So it's like a miracle. So if you are looking at it just from the pure physical point of view, this is impossible. But he's doing it, and he's doing it from time to time. So what is the most important factor that has to be added to this impossible accomplishment is the mental state of mind. Something that he really unique in that sense, that he can not just believe in himself that he will be able to accomplish this impossible route from one side to the other side of a continent, but also to keep up the concentration all the way after for example the 25th kilometer in water or the 30th kilometer in water, when the wind changes, when basically you have waves around you, you can hardly even breathe. And he can do it because he is in such a state of mind and he can concentrate so much that sort of he's in a flow in a way. So what is the most important in his case is to support this concentration as much as we can.
És akkor ugye, amikor még volt a felkészülési időszak, akkor nyilván elkezdődött az ajánlás, vagy hát a terápia, és akkor lehet látni, hogy már a 7. napon lényegesen javult a koncentrációja, és a többi, és ott volt a nagy különbség, ő azt mondta, hogy már ugye ezt tapasztalta az edzésen is, hogy 100%-ig az edzés utolsó percéig, pillanatáig fent tudta tartani a fókuszt.
So basically, during his practice and preparational period, we started this dosage, and after even 7 days, he could tell me that he had significant improvement. His ability to concentrate gradually increased. He was able to concentrate on the task throughout the whole work, which was the most important things, because in these swims, of course, your body is exposed in a long term, in a long run for hours. Sometimes these swims are going on for 10 to 12 hours in the water. So it's absolutely crucial not to lose focus. And that's what he was saying, that this was probably the biggest support he experienced, that when he was doing the daily practice, he could keep up this concentration all the way until the very last moment of the practice.
Ha csak belegondolunk, hogy mondjuk 10 órát még a kádba se szívesen ülnénk, nem hogy úszni egy ilyen nyílt vízon mindenféle cápák és meduzák között.
Yes, of course. I think 10 hours. 10 hours. Not even one of us would like to even just bathe in a bath. It would be even quite difficult. But to swim, within these environments, I think something that is really extra.
Igen, és nyilván nagyon sokat tudnék róla beszélni, nagyon sok életveszélyes helyzetben volt, de ezt majd esetleg este a vacsoránál, vagy bármikor, ha szívesen megkérdezik, akkor elmondjuk.
We have tons of stories about him, the extreme and dangerous situation he's been involved. Maybe tonight at the dinner we can, if you want to, we can sell some funny stories about him.
Elég csak annyi, hogy kétszer meghalt egy ilyen próba után.
Well, even 2 times he had to be revived because his body temperature was dropping under 26 centigrade, which is basically something that is against staying alive. So
igen, kétszer megpróbált, kétszer kicsit meghalt, és harmadszor visszament és megcsinálta.
So we would say he died twice a little bit, and he came back, and the third time he did what he wanted to do in the northern channel, which was I would say the most difficult one. Crazy guy.
És akkor most egy kicsit, korban, kicsit fiatalabb, van egy nagyon fiatal hölgy, aki egy vívó.
Okay, the next patient I'd like to talk about, we drop a little bit, in age. She's very young, she's 21-year-old, and she's a female fencer. És
ebben az évben a társaival együtt azt követte el, hogy először a magyar vívás történetében világbajnokok lettek.
And in the history of fencing, with the Hungarian Sabre female fencing team, they became world champion this summer, which is absolutely a historical happening.
És hát természetesen készül a Párizsi olimpiára.
And of course, she's preparing for the Paris Olympic Games in 2024.
Ugye ő fiatal még az előző páciensekhez képest, tehát ő még annyira nem rutinos abból a szempontból, hogy éppen hogy is kell mondjuk kezelni akár a média felhajtás körülötte, hogy akkor most az evész, az ételre, italra hogy kell figyelnie. Tehát ebből a szempontból nyilván ő még sokkal tapasztalatlanabb, és azzal keresett meg, illetve a szövetség, hogy hát valamit találjunk már ki, mert kicsit olyan érzése van, mintha így mindenből elege lenne, fizikai panaszai is voltak, és mintha így ez a kiégett volna.
So she's, as I said, 21. So she has much less experience, even much less knowledge about her personal self. She's not. She doesn't really have the experience in how to handle, like big sporting events like World Championships, how to handle the media attention, how to sort of share your attention between so many things. And at the Hungarian Fencing Federation, which is, I have to tell you, Dr. Kecskés didn't say, is absolutely the #1 sport in Hungary. In the Olympic history, Hungary in fencing is absolutely the most successful sport. So it is really important what is happening in Hungarian fencing. So if the president of the Hungarian Fencing Federation is calling my husband to please give some help to her, then it really means something that we need to get some support. So what happened basically, she came with the symptoms that she is not just losing focus, sort of she's fed up with all these factors around her, too much attention, too much I would say physical and mental challenges. So some kind of a burnout syndrome, I would say, in these early ages, which is quite rare.
Nála ezt a 3 készítménnyel indultunk, ugye magával a Clean Slate-tel, az Heroinnal és a Restore-ral.
And we started with the golden three, as I call them. That's why you got the golden three, of course. Which was quite important.
Ugye nyilván van több készítmény is, csak itt akkor elmondom, hogy Magyarországon nagyon szigorúak a szabályozások ezzel kapcsolatban, hogy a sportolók, tehát az olimpikonnak, az élsportolóknak milyen készítményeket lehet szedni. És ugye ez a 3 készítmény, ez be van vizsgálva Magyarországon a megfelelő sztenderdek alapján, ami ugye a
WADA szabályokat.
Igen, a WADA szabályok.
So, which is quite important, and we are actually very grateful that Christina Clay and the team was supporting us to have these proprietary blends to be tested in a Hungarian laboratory, because an Olympic athlete like she is, of course, has to be really, really careful about what kind of supplements they are taking. The World Anti-Doping Agency's rules are really strict. So basically, they have at least a list of 200 or even more ingredients by now that are on the no list, the doping list actually. So even if these are natural components, natural ingredients, but we all know that they have a natural performance enhancing factor. So from that point of view, it was very important to have the certificate from this institute that these proprietary blends are safe enough for an Olympic athlete to be taken. So they are not gonna be, caught by WADA or any other, agency that is going against doping because of these. We knew that they wouldn't be, but you have to have the certificate. That's the most important thing.
Igen, a sportolóknál ugye a szövetségek, vagy nem, az első kérdés az, hogy be vannak-e vizsgáltatva a készítmények.
So if you're working with an Olympic athlete or any kind of, sports association comes up to you, the first question would be, okay, what about these supplements? Do you have the certificate? Are they WADA safe? There's not going to be any problem or any trouble for our athletes if they're taking. So I think the plan is to have all these certificates for all the other proprietary blends, because we do believe, as we said, that they have fantastic performance enhancing factors on a natural way, which of course is allowed.
Igen. És akkor hát elkezdte fogyasztani, és ugye nála is egy kicsit így óvatosabb van, főleg ami így a méregtelenítést illeti, a clean slate-ből is ugye csak így 2x4 cseppel, szépen fokozatosan. Nyilván elmondtam, hogy gyakorlatilag ha bármi olyan tapasztal, ami mondjuk kellemetlen a számára, akkor azonnal hívjon fel. Nem volt ilyen, nagyon jól végül is viselte ezt az egészet, és ugye látszik, hogy a Restore-ból például már a következő adagolásnál az a lényeg, hogy a tréning után, tehát az edzés után is elfogyasszák, ez egyébként a sportolóknál nagyon fontos, mert így a legoptimálisabb a regenerációs hatás.
With her as well, I was really keen on to start with a very gradual, step-by-step dosaging. As you could see, we started from the clean slate with 2x4 drops in the morning and the evening, and then in every 3 days we increased the amount. And I told her, if you feel any strange or inconvenient feelings with this detoxifying movement, then please let me know. But she was taking it very well. Her response were very useful, and she said she was feeling much better. And it was also very important. I always say with professional athletes that with Restore is really important to take Restore after practice. Not just before, but after, because that would help this recovery process a lot. That would help this regenerating process to fill up those empty storages in the body as soon as possible.
15 percen belül.
Within 15 minutes. So it makes a difference how quickly you take Restore after practice. Within 15 minutes, that is my experience. I think that is when it's absolutely the optimal result you can get out of it.
És akkor ugye azt már lehet látni, hogy itt néha így egy hetes reakciók vannak, vagy egy hét után szoktunk találkozni, hogy akkor hogy is érzi magát, mi a benyomása, hogy érzi magát, akár fizikailag, akár szellemileg, mentálisan. És hát lehet látni, hogy szépen elkezdett javulni a teljesítménye, jobban érezte magát, jobb volt a közérzete, és ebből a fásultságból, vagy ebből a kiégésből elkezdett megint javulni, kinyílni.
With athletes, I usually like to have feedbacks at least 1 week right after we started working together and the dosages, because as I said, they are so body conscious that even after 1 week they would have feedbacks, useful feedbacks. And she was telling me that she started feeling much better. She sort of started losing this numbness, this burnt out mental state. So her performance was really improving.
És ugye azért volt nagyon fontos nála, hogy nyilván jó tapasztalatai legyenek. Én tudom, mert én hiszem, meg én tudom, nagyon sok tapasztalatom van. Én biztos voltam benne, hogy működik nála. Csak hogy
I was sure it would be working for her.
Csak hogy ugye ez neki is egy visszajelzés, nyilván nem csak nekem ad visszajelzés, hanem a szövetségnek is, és akkor ilyenkor van arra lehetőség, vagy elindultak már ez irányban a folyamatok, hogy a más vívó is a szövetségből fogja alkalmazni ezeket a készítményeket.
Of course, from the medical point of view, from my point of view, it's very important to get the feedbacks from the athlete, but if you look at this situation from the other side, it is also important for the athlete, okay, that these things are working, so she can sort of spread the news, and that's how it happens, that not just one fencer, but basically the Hungarian Fencing Federation is keep on sending the fencers to me to sort of start boosting them and their body in this way.
És lehet látni, hogy gyakorlatilag 2 hét után 50%-a javult az előző állapotához képest természetesen, tehát gyakorlatilag az a mentális állapota.
After 2 weeks, 50% improvement could be actually experienced in her case. Hát kell gyorsuljunk szerintem.
Oké. Jó. És akkor, hát szóval ennyi így, nagyon sok egyéb tapasztalat van, ezeket azért választottam ki, mert ezek elég jellemzőek mondjuk így a munkám során.
A lot of other experience that I have, of course, I just wanted to point out these ones and to sort of show these ones because these are very characteristic of what I've seen so far in my medical practice with athletes.
Igen, és most itt egy kicsit akkor felgyorsolunk, azért, mert ez már ismert. Ugye itt ez a főbűnös, itt a tüskefehérje, ez a főbűnös mindenért.
He's the guy. He is, it's his fault. Everything is his fault. He's the, the spike protein that you probably very, very well know by now, from use from everywhere.
Jó, itt az akut COVID tünetekről beszélek, de ezt nagyjából mindenki tudja. Aki átesett rajta, meg aki nem, mert ezt mindenhol lehetett hallani mondjuk az elmúlt 2 év vagy 2,5 évben.
Basically symptoms everyone knows by now, even who actually got COVID and even who hasn't got COVID, because you've heard of it from the news and from everywhere. These are basically the symptoms of the acute cases when you catch COVID.
Vannak különböző ugye rizikófaktorok, erről is nagyon sokat lehetett olvasni, nyilván az időskor, az légzőrendszeri problémák, szívérrendszeri, stb.
You know the risk factors that could even make the situation worse. If you actually your body exposed to the COVID, being a little older, the condition of your lungs, if you had heart disease, brain or nervous system conditions, diabetes or obesity, cancer or certain blood disorders. So these are those risk factors that could make the situation.
Egy dologra szeretném felhívni a figyelmet itt a végén, ugye ez tehát az ásványanyag és az egyéb hatóanyagoknak a hiánya.
Let me underline out of all these on the very last one, the deficiency of minerals and nutrition, which hasn't been told as often and as importantly as I think it is, and could be just as responsible for the outcome of a COVID if you really have the deficiency of minerals and nutrition.
Mert ugye nyilván a terápiánál, tehát a kezelésnél már csak a megelőzés fontosabb. Tehát, hogyha megfelelő természetes hatóanyagokat, és amikor ugye ezeket már végigvettük, rendszeresen fogyasztjuk, akkor gyakorlatilag a betegségek előfordulása, most így nagyon általánosan fogalmazva, az sokkal kisebb lesz, és a súlyossága az eltűnik.
Of course, I shouldn't even mention, you all probably know this, it's not just about the treatment if you are handling or if you are struggling with COVID or with some other health problems, but it's much more important to take care of the prevention, how you can prepare your body to make the shield around your body, what Christina was talking about, to sort of prepare your body for if it's being exposed to that kind of viruses or any other problems, then basically you're untouched, or you can be untouched because your body is all ready for those challenges.
Itt ez is egy ilyen érdekes, arra nem is kell nagyon figyelni, ez a leggyakoribb post-covid tünetek. Ugye egy nagyon komoly, széleskörű vizsgálat alkalmával jöttek ezek a számok, találták, és ugye csak egy dologra hívnám fel figyelmet, hogy az 58%, tehát 10-ből 6 embernél ez a kronikus fáradtság, ami jelentkezik majdnem mindenkinél a post-covid tünetek között.
Now, after 2.5 years of COVID being around us, at least as it's declared. It has been around, of course, but since we have been talking about it, we have some numbers about the usual symptoms that COVID, people who meet COVID feel. And the only one I would like to definitely point out is the almost 60%, the chronic fatigue, that means that 6 out of 10 people has this kind of, after symptoms. That this chronical fatigue, the feeling which is so difficult to bear.
És akkor csak egy mondat, van egy különleges fehérje, amit meg lehet mérni laborvizsgálatok között. Ez a ProBNP-nek hívják. Ez azért nagyon fontos, mert ez a szívizomnak az állapotáról ad információt.
And just one sentence that we already talked about it on other presentations, but it's always important to mention that there is one protein is been uncovered, it's been found by Dr. James Januzzi, which is called this ProBNP, which if you can detect it in a laboratory from a blood test, that means it can give a really, really informative feedback on how the heart, the muscles of the heart are working actually.
Igen, és nem csak az, hanem hogy a mortalitás, tehát hogy milyen súlyosságban alakulhat ki a betegség, illetve milyen súlyosan károsította mondjuk a szívérendszert, az is látszik. Tehát a rizikó ahhoz, hogy később mennyire lesz beteg, arra is lehet következtetni ennek a fehérjének a jelenlétéből.
So basically, the presence and the amount of ProBNP in the blood can give a very good, I would say, how shall we say that? Can actually can help in figuring out, the mortality factor of the certain person and how risky his situation is from the heart's point of view.
És akkor ez az utolsó esettanulmány, ez egy 36 éves hölgy, aki ugye covidos lett, és gyakorlatilag utána, ahogy látszik is, ugye a post-covid, erről nem volt szó, de a post-covid tüneteket azt szoktuk mondani, hogy több héttel, akár hónapokkal is a covid betegség után lehet tapasztalni. Jelen esetben 9 hónap. Sorry.
Basically, just to talk shortly about the last case study, it's a 60-year-old female patient, and we didn't mention this, but the post-COVID syndromes can even appear 9 months after you had COVID. So it's actually a very long term. In many cases, that's why from traditional medicine, they never even thought that symptoms has anything to do with COVID because it was so far away from the illness, from the body exposed to the COVID. But in this case, this patient experienced this post-COVID syndromes 9 months after she actually caught the virus.
Igen, és lehet látni, hogy viszonylag komoly tünetei voltak a akut COVID megbetegedés, és megkapta a Magyarországon aktuális COVID protokollt.
And she had serious symptoms during her COVID, and she received, I would say, the currently known COVID protocol, what they usually offer in hospitals.
És akkor amikor engem megkeresett, akkor ugye voltak panaszai, hát itt láthatók a panaszok, itt is nyilván ez a krónikus fáradtság az abszolút látszik. Ugye ő egy sportos hölgy volt, tehát viszonylag egészségesen élt, és ezért volt számára nagyon nehéz, hogy nem tudott úgy teljesíteni, könnyen elfáradt, különböző diszpnés panaszai voltak, tehát a légzőrendszerével voltak panaszai, és ugye nem tudta azt az életet élni, mint előtte.
And she was physically an active woman, so she was really, I would say, it was really uncomfortable for her to experience that. Her breathing was very difficult. She had, I would say, numbness all over her body. Her physical state of mind was just really weak. She couldn't really even bear this weakness, this chronic fatigue that she felt on a daily basis.
Akkor itt lehet látni, hogy milyen értékei voltak, ugye az optimálishoz képest. Itt van ez a bizonyos ProBNP, ugye ez gyakorlatilag, hát ugye a 125-höz képest azért 285 volt. A gyulladásos paraméterei, ugye hát erről is nagyon sokat lenne beszélni, hogy ez a krónikus gyulladás, ugye a Covid betegség kapcsán. Ez 205-ös, ez egy nagy, kifejezetten egy nagy magasnak mondható, ugye az 5-höz képest. Egyébként a májenzimek is ugye megemelkedtek, itt lehet látni.
You could see all basically the results of the lab tests that are really informative. Which one of them I would like to really point out is the high inflammatory parameters, which was really extremely high. So it's not just the personal feeling, but the lab test could show that she was really in a bad shape.
Tehát igen, komoly laboreltérések voltak, és akkor lehet látni, hát itt a teljes palettát ajánlottam neki.
The solution was to take everything that at the moment is available from these proprietary blends, starting with the golden tree, of course, and with, as I said earlier, with a gradual way. But I also thought she was not an athlete, so I could definitely give the other proprietary blends as well, the natural barrier support, the mitochondrial defense shield, and the Give Me Back My Youth.
És ugye akkor az eredmények itt láthatók, hogy itt is viszonylag ugye a több hónaphoz képest, vagy az előtte lévő több héthez képest viszonylag gyorsan jött a javulás.
Which was really a difference is basically the speeded recovery compared to his previous, I would say, long-term bad condition.
Ugye gyakorlatilag ez a gyulladásos paraméter, ez a felére csökkent, ez még mindig magas, de ugye itt a tendencia az fontos. Aztán nyilván itt egy hónap után pedig már a májenzimek is, de gyakorlatilag normalizálódott a hivatalos orvosi vizsgálattal is az állapot.
So even you know, just doing a double check on the lab, basically you could see as quite quickly her results started normalize, moving to the normal region of these results.
Ugye ennél talán, hogy a laborparaméterek javultak, számára az volt fontosabb, hogy vissza tudott térni a előző aktív sportos életébe, panaszok nélkül.
From her point of view, of course, these are just numbers, but it was much more important that she felt that she could sort of regain her previous life.
És még akkor tényleg csak 3 mondat, így a post-Covidról.
Just the last sentences before.
Egyrészt, hogy nem mindenkinek vannak ilyen komoly laboreltérései, csak a panaszok vannak meg.
In not every cases you can find these kind of extreme lab results, but at the same time you can have a very, you know, bad feelings. You can have, I would say, bad syndromes, and also, you know, just in a general feelings, you could feel really badly.
Tehát a legfontosabb, amit én szoktam javasolni, hogy gondolni kell rá. Tehát, hogyha akár orvoshoz is elmegyünk ezekkel, vagy valaki ismerős beszámol erről rokon, akkor gondolni kell, hogy bizony ez a post-covid szindróma zajlik nála.
Which is not natural at the moment to sort of to actually have it in, you know, sometimes it's just not in the mind that it might be a post-COVID syndrome what I have. You just feel tired, you just don't feel good, your performance is you know, is just loosening, your concentration you're losing, you have this long-term headaches, and you just don't think that you have post-COVID syndrome. But it's better to keep it in mind, it might be that.
És akkor még nagyon sok kérdést kapok egyébként, ugye, hogy mi a helyzet az oltásokkal, tehát a vakcinációval.
Okay, vaccination is another topic. I have a lot of questions that I get from that.
És én elneveztem a post-covid szindróma mintájára, hogy létezik bizony a post-vakcinációs szindróma.
I sort of created this term that is not only post-COVID syndrome, but post-vaccination syndrome.
Ami gyakorlatilag ugyanazokat a tüneteket mutatja, mint a post-covid szindróma, csak csak lehet, hogy enyhébb fokozatban,
Same symptoms usually as the post-COVID syndrome, maybe in a little lighter version.
és ugye itt is, hát maga a tüskefehérje a főbűnös, mert ugye az fel tud halmozódni, és az meg tud telepedni a szervezetben.
Of course, the spike
Protein.
spike protein in the same case is responsible for the whole problem.
És még azt a kérdést is meg szoktam kapni, hogy létezik-e olyan, hogyha valaki be van oltva, ő fertőzhet-e?
And I usually get the question if someone is vaccinated, that the person can be shedding basically the virus over to people around him.
Ugye a tudományos kutatási eredmények, vagy ami hivatalosan le van írva, az ezt nem tartja lehetőnek.
I would say from the scientific results at the moment on an official basis, it wouldn't tell it's possible, but
De a tapasztalat azért azt mutatja, hogy létezik ilyen.
But from experience, it actually proves that there are situations that there is this kind of shedding phenomenon when someone is vaccinated and the person can actually spread the virus after vaccination.
Épp ezért nagyon fontos, hogy a szervezetünk fel legyen készítve mindenfajta támadás ellen, és most nem konkrétan a Covid-dal szemben, hanem bármilyen vírus, bármilyen baktérium, olyan sok támadás éri a szervezetünket, hogy aminek a nagy részéről nem is szerzünk tudomást.
So basically the most important to prepare your body for any kind of offense that is coming from outside.
És csak annyi, hogy nagyon sok tudományos vizsgálat történt, ugye, hogy most jelenleg a post-covid szindrómának hagyományos terápiája nincs.
Something that we have to declare that post-COVID syndromes I would say in a clinical medical work there is no such thing that you can help in a
Traditional medical.
yeah. So there is nothing that can help in post-COVID syndrome
Viszont nagyon sok olyan
in
természetes,
the pharmaceutical way.
nagyon sok természetes hatóanyagról ki van mutatva, hogy az segít a tüskefehérjének a kitisztításában.
But many natural ingredients it's been already proven that they can help to clean out the spike protein.
Ugye, amit mindenki tud, vagy amiről nagyon sok információ volt, ez a C és a D3 vitamin.
What everyone knows is basically the vitamin C and D3 vitamin.
De az nem véletlenül hoztam vissza a hatóanyag összetételünket, ugye? Mert hát ugye egyrészt nagyon sok készítményünkben benne van a C-vitamin, D-vitamin.
It's no wonder I just got this slide back because you can see these natural ingredients basically to shown in almost every proprietary blend.
Tehát például a kurkuma, tehát most felsorolom azokat, amiről kimondták és bebizonyították, hogy hatékony a tüskefehérje kitisztításában.
Those that are actually scientifically proven, which are good to clean the spike protein and scientifically proven.
Kurkuma,
Curcumin,
fekete köménymagolaj, black seed
the
oil,
black seed oil,
resveratrol, aztán cink,
zinc,
a különböző, tehát a kétféle alga,
the spirulina and the other
spirulina and chlorella, aztán quercetin,
quercetin,
ez a speciális, ugye ez a NAD. Tehát majdnem, tehát mindegyik készítményben van olyan, amiről be van bizonyítva, hogy kitisztítja a tüskefehérjét.
So in all ingredients, basically, it's scientifically proven and based that they can help in cleaning the spike protein out from the body. So if you have it together, you can imagine how effective they are.
Hát viszonylag egyszerű a dolgunk, mert teljesen egy nagyon erős védelmet fel tudunk építeni, nem kell más hozzá, és nem kell nagyon-nagyon komoly kutatásokat végezni, csak ezeket lehet
So
fogyasztani.
it's quite easy. What we have to do is basically you can build up a fantastic shield out of these natural ingredients as they are blended in this proprietary blend.
Nagyon szépen köszönöm a figyelmet, és elnézést, hogy kicsit hosszú voltam.
Sorry for being a little too long, but we could talk about these case studies forever. And thank you for your attention. We are very glad that we could share all these informations with you. Thank you for your patience.
Dr. Keshkesh.
So,
Zhuzha, we're going to take a picture real quick, Joy, of the three of us, and then I am going to transition to the doctor questions and answers. We're going to brief it because Joy,
Too long.
you were not too long. I wanted to hear all of that. That actually was amazing. You guys, now we have really great presentations that we can show. We're not making claims. The three of us are just showing information. Did you have time, Joy?
Yeah.
Okay, to get it.
Set up differently, yes.
Thank you. I should have put Dr. Keshkesh in the middle because he's the man. But you guys go ahead and stay up here because we're going to have Duquesne walking around so he can have different doctors answering questions because this part of the presentation is interactive and we are going to ask questions. I made the formula, so like I said, I'm a little biased and I want to hear from the different doctors. I'm so excited about CTC and how we will launch this brand and how we will be able to reach out to doctors. So I want to be able to have some of the answers on film, and you guys feel free to record it. Again, we're not making claims. I'm just going to be asking questions. But before I go on to that, I do want to say this. I did not make a proper introduction with Zhuzha. I told you guys how much I like her, but you guys probably do know she's a very famous Olympic athlete. And I remember when I met her, I thought, how do I know her? She looks so familiar. I remember being young and watching her on television. I remember because it was major news because it was Hungary and they were at the time a communist, well, they were behind the Iron Curtain. And she was a representative as a young child and was able to leave Hungary and travel. So she's really a humanitarian, a hero, and famous. And then she went over back and became the first female, I never say it right, commentator
And first female presenter on sports in television in Hungary.
And became very famous as an actress and really became a person leading female rights in her country, as well as bridging the gap between her country and other countries throughout the world. It's an honor to work with you and Dr. Keshkesh.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you.
So Google her name because I'll say this when you do, you'll see Zhuzha in a younger format. But I remember so vividly watching you, Zhuzha, and my parents telling me how wonderful you are. Now I know you in person.
What did you prefer? What was your sport?
In artistic gymnastics?
Could you just do a couple flips?
Of course.
Is that just something small, nothing big? Just something very, maybe a back tuck.
It was small enough.
So
Gymnastics is not
Dr.
the sport that
Ram,
you can do on a hobby level, unfortunately.
You
in the
didn't know I was
heel.
gonna ask that. If you're a doctor, can you guys come up on stage?
The Dr. Lesinich, am I saying it right? Dr. Arman. What other? I can't remember all of them. Dr. Carew.
I do need doctors that have experience with these products. So if
Dr.
you're a
Anna.
doctor, if you have experience with these products, please come up. And what I would like to ask is for you guys, and I apologize, but you guys probably know, and this is, believe me, we needed every bit of information that just happened. This was fantastic. I would like to say that the research is going on, and that's why this database is going to be so important, that we're going to be able to collect this information. But I'd like for each one of you to talk about your experiences and what you see as the most...
Keshkesh. Dr. Keshkesh.
We can bring a chair for Zhuzha. I can stand.
Okay.
Yeah. Zhuzha, do you want to come sit? I'm going to pass the mic, because I think we only have one mic.
Duquesne has another
Duquesne
mic.
has the other one. Sorry, Duquesne. I was going to have...
Mike. Yeah, get that, Mike.
I want to ask questions about your experience with the products. We heard from Dr. Keshkesh, but I'd like to hear how these products have impacted your approach to healthcare and how they're helping people, because we launched a company. We'll get you a chair too.
I have another chair. One
Thank
sec.
you. We launched a company during COVID. You know, COVID hit the United States in February. I give credit to Clay. I always say this. He was brave enough to do it at a time where you weren't launching companies, and definitely no one thought we could ship to this many countries. I give credit to Clayton and the rest of you in this room, truly. And so, but the doctors, and I know there's more doctors out there. I know Jorgen and a lot of you guys have treated patients as well. Claire, I mean, there's a lot of you guys. But right now, I'd like to hear how you think these products have impacted healthcare and how they've impacted your treatment and your approach to healthcare. And I really would like you to give advice to people on how they approach this. And again, we don't claim to cure anything. We claim to cure the causes. But I do want to say that this is an important factor to hear from these professionals. I don't want you guys to trust just me. I want you to hear from different people. So it's been an honor to work with you guys, first of all. We have doctor-to-doctor calls we don't talk about a lot. But they've been very, very informative, as well as it's helped me even with my approach on how I deal with things. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Armand. It's been a privilege to work with you.
Dr. Ram, before we start, so if you are videoing this,
What?
If anyone's videoing this,
Yeah.
I don't know if we should.
Well, that's why I said even with the prior presentation, you heard Dr. Keshkesh, you always hear me. We're not claiming to do anything. We can't claim to cure anything up here. We can't claim that we do anything. We can share personal experiences, though, and that's fine. So this is what we will do.
Yeah, I want to make sure that, because I'm going to be the one that gets the call from the lawyers.
I don't know. I get a lot of calls from
Yeah,
lawyers.
Well.
I get a lot of calls from lawyers.
So if you are videoing this, it's not for marketing purposes. Please don't pass it along and share it like that. It is for you guys to understand and listen to and absorb. And then from there,
we don't diagnose, we don't
diagnose, we don't treat. And then just so everyone's clear, this isn't made for anyone to cut into clips and then put any of these people on blast, or to put them in a situation where they were making some comment. But this is why you came. You came to see things like this. You came to be up close and personal with the brand and to see intimate settings like this. So it's for here. So anyways, please proceed.
And before Dr. Armand, before you talk, I want to say this too. In life, everyone has learned that doctors are more intelligent or that they're more important. They're not, but they do have a separate education which helps them know how they need to treat and how they need to support health and wellness. So all of these individuals are experts in their field in different areas, whether it's as a veterinarian or whether it's as in dentistry. Each of those areas are significant and take a lot of time in school, and people need to be respected for that. So I'm very excited to hear. Dr. Armand, we'll start with you.
Hello and thank you. First of all, I think most of you know that my English isn't very well, but I took 2-0 in, so I'm getting a little bit brave, and I tried in English.
You're fine.
The first part of the products, which is very important, is that it's not only about the physical part of the ingredients, because you can't explain it exactly biochemistry and say because of vitamin D or because of vitamin C, this and that happens, or the outcomes of the people. So it's just more, and it's a little bit difficult to explain it for the normal doctor, for the normal physicians. But the impact is that it could be for all doctors much easier to work with the patients, because first it's very safe. If you work with drugs, with pills, you can kill people, but you can't kill people with these blends. It's not possible. And you can also work with your patients without see them physically. You can work much better also online, only when you talk to them and explain them how to take these blends. And when they start to take these things and be part of the calls, of the Zoom calls, of the ISNS calls, or the Root University, they start to live much more healthier. It's not only about the products, like you said, it's lifestyle. That's a very important thing, I think. Yeah.
He's impacted thousands and thousands of people, and I want to tell you thank you personally. It's an honor, and I want you to tell the group what your education is so they do know. Yeah.
I first 2001 I started as a nurse. 1 year as a nurse, then I make a study for the physiotherapist. I'm a physiotherapist also. Worked 2 years as a physiotherapist. Then I started with the university, with the medical university, and in Heidelberg in Germany, and finished 2013, and started in the part of our specification of orthopedic and traumatology. And after 1 or 2 years, I saw that I could impact people also with nutrients, with food, with supplements, and started all with vitamin D. And everybody, or a lot of people in Germany know me because of this part, because of vitamin D. And then now, I think 6 or 7 years, I'm working a lot with this integrative medicine, with holistic medicine, and I worked first in a hospital, then in a rehabilitation center, and the last one was in a big center practice of integrative medicine.
Thank you. You had a little bit of an education. Dr. Ann, thank you, Dr. Armand. He also has a beautiful wife, by the way. Amazing wife. Dr. Ann. Yes.
Yes, my name is Anne Vierlaveen and I have a medical practice in Belgium, close to Antwerp. And I am specialized in Lyme patients, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia and things like that. We work with natural products and IV therapy and ozone therapy, etc. And my experience with the root products is that we see results very, very fast. There is not one company, I work with different companies of course, there is not one company that ever gave me visible results in how my patients reacted, how they became better. Just to give a very recent example, I have a Lyme patient that has been sick already for years, has a lot of brain fog, a lot of head concentration problems, etc. And in his 20s, he has been having an accident, and they keep referring all of his problems to that accident that was like 25 years ago. And he had that problem for years. I started him recently on the mitochondrial defense shield, and he came back after 6 weeks and he said, "Doctor, I've organized a trip for my family to Canada. Organize it. Normally my brain doesn't allow me to do that. But on top of that, we went with the whole family, and I've been able to do all the activities that I planned with my family. I walked 7 kilometers. Normally I can't even do half a kilometer. Now, just with this product added on his therapy, he was already on clean slate, he was already on zeroin, etc. But yeah, mitochondria was just out. I started it on him immediately. You get a result like, yeah, he was so happy. It was the first time in 5 years that he was able to do everything together with his family without any problems. And yeah, that's
wonderful. That's wonderful. So when are you presenting the case study to IS? I said, when are you presenting the case study to ISNS? Because now you're next. We're asking the doctors to present so that the ISNS community can hear, we can gather the information, and we can include this in a journal. What this does for you all as doctors is you're published, right? That's very important. So I want these case studies, any white papers. This will help everyone out here and 100, 1,000 times more throughout the world. So we need your information. You guys are very, very important. And I also have to say you have a wonderful husband, Roland.
I was going to say that.
Hey, before... Hey, yes, take a bow. That's right. He's buying shots later. Hey, I want to point out that you say all the time, and I want to point this out to the group, because you say all the time that, you know, when we launched Mitochondria Shield, when we launched the Immune Defense Shield, what we're going to call it, what we'll be calling it, you launched that, you said, because people needed it.
They had to have it.
I'm sure they needed it.
And we fought about it, and I lost.
Well, he said that we didn't have it was too much to launch right now. I said we had to launch it right now.
But the point of the matter is that you talk a lot about how people can, I hear all the time on a regular basis, because I'm in the office every day and I'm attached to her and Clayton and Patrick and everybody, like we're all attached by the hip. So I have the luxury of hearing all of these things. And what winds up coming out of Dr. Ram's mouth and Clayton's mouth a lot is, because they've cleaned themselves up with a clean slate, all of these other things that they're doing that you've created are very, very, very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And so your testimony of your patient right there is like basically solidifying what you say all the time. And that's what I want to point out to the group, because if they hadn't been doing the clean slate, if all of these other things would have been wrong with their body, maybe the mitochondria, maybe it wouldn't have worked as efficiently.
Yeah.
Right? But because they had done that, then this is the result. You're talking about a 6-week change that is like ridiculous. So it gave me tingles to hear it. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to point out how it all makes sense for us, because, again, I have the luxury of hearing her talk to countries and people all over the stinking world about this stuff on a regular basis. And people literally are like, sure. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, whatever, witch lady. It's not real, but it is real.
It is real.
It is real. And this is a testimony of the process and why when she says, well, this is what we have to bring out next. And people don't understand how strategic that her and Clayton have really been with how they're launching things. You know, we didn't come out with, we didn't start with like lip performance, right? Yeah. With lip pucker. We start with things that are going to impact your life. And this is an amazing note to how you've been able to help somebody. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing and great work.
Thank you.
I wasn't expecting to be sitting up here.
You're going to be up here more when we launch the toothpaste.
Okay, well, my name's Marina Carew. I'm a retired ex-biological dentist, and just being introduced to the Root products 2 years ago by Sandy has just completely changed my life and made me want to learn more. I'm going back to doing more dentistry, studying about the gum health. I started taking Clean Slate. I was a biological dentist, so I was taking out amalgams carefully for patients, but I did recognise that not everybody who had amalgams had problems that were, on show, but I'm very wary about taking amalgams out, even though I knew how to do it very carefully, because one of the problems is that if you have a big filling and you try and replace it, then maybe the nerve will die. And if the nerve dies, then what do? A root treatment? Or do you take the tooth out? If you do a root treatment, they're not very good for you. They you can't sterilise the root canal, and so they leak out toxins, and there's been documentaries about that. And then if you leave the gap, if the tooth extracted, what do? Do you leave a gap? If you leave the gap, the teeth either side can tip in, or the opposing tooth, the opposite tooth, can overgrow. That can cause problems with the bite. That can cause problems with posture, with your cranial rhythm, so you might not be able to detox properly. I'm just telling you all this because I get so cross with holistic practitioners telling their patients, you need to go and have all your amalgams taken out because you'll never get better. And one of the problems with that is they don't understand that sometimes you can actually do more harm than good by taking out the amalgams, even if you do it properly, because the patients might have a problem with the bite, then they have a problem with the airway, have a problem with breathing. So it's not a simple solution. So when Clean Slate came along, it was absolutely fantastic, because I thought, we've really got something now so patients can get rid of all the mercury in their bodies without having to have their amalgams removed. And then they can do it more slowly if needs be, or they can think about it. And the other problem I find is that if you're being told you need all your amalgams taken out and you can't afford it, how's that going to affect you mentally? Because you'll go through your life thinking, I'm never going to get well because I've got amalgams in my mouth. So, I love the products because they take out all the mercury and they're detoxing patients. They've detoxed me from mercury. I spent years trying to detox, gave up in the end because nothing worked. And Sandy had to really nag me to get my first bottle of Clean Slate. And it took him a long time to convince me. I bought my bottle of Clean Slate and couldn't believe the difference. Got all my family on it, got all my friends on it, and it just snowballed. And I can see the difference in people. Then I start taking Zero in, and my brain fog cleared up. I could do Sudoku puzzles really quickly. I was dreaming more. I just thought, this is amazing. Couldn't wait for Restore to come out. And that's when I noticed I started to take Restore and got massive differences with Restore. I'd had a car accident 25 years ago, and I had some damage to my arm, and I had big lipomas there, and they've all shrunk. I don't need to take my thyroxine anymore. But one of the things I noticed, that this is to do with the dentistry, was that my mouth felt cleaner in the mornings. My gums didn't bleed at all, and I didn't feel the need to brush for as long or as often. And then I realised that it was because my gut had healed. So this is different to what we're always told in dentistry, that you've got to clean all the plaque off because it's the plaque that damages the gut. And yes, there is a cycle that goes round, but I think it's more the gut issue that needs to be sorted. And I've got a little dog who had very bad breath, and has a good diet, raw diet. I've got 3 dogs, but this one in particular had very bad breath and red gums. So I started putting Restore and Relive Greens in all my dogs' food. They get Clean Slate, Restore and Relive Greens. And within a couple of weeks his bad breath had gone, and yet he'd bad breath for years. So I'm now starting to look at dentists. There are very, very few of them who understand about how we heal the gut. And it's so important. And you do not need to spend hours brushing and cleaning your teeth, because everything needs to be in balance. And that's what I'm learning. And I'm still new at this because I've still got so much to learn. But all I can tell you is I love these products. They've changed my life, they've changed my children's lives, and they've changed lots of other people's lives. And my little dog no longer has bad breath.
Thank you. So you were brought to Root by Sandy,
Yes.
correct? Dr. Ann, who introduced you to Root? I know Roland and Stephanie, and then Dr. Armand? Mark. So this is a great opportunity. We're going to do some of this tonight, but here's my point. Who made the biggest difference? Dr. Armand or Mark? Both of you. We're connected. We use each other. We're healers. We're here to heal, serve, lead. We're all equal. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dr. Armand, Roland, Sandy, all of y'all. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you so much. And your beautiful daughter's here, right? Is your daughter here with you?
One of my daughters. I have 3 daughters.
Is she watching now, or she's in her room?
She's sunbathing.
That's where my daughter would be.
And I've got a baby grandson who's absolutely adorable.
And he is. He is. So now, Alana,
Yes.
Dr. Alana,
yeah.
I have to say this before you talk. Clayton is one of the smartest people I've ever met. I mean, we worked together before we were together, and when I first met him, I remember thinking, gosh, that guy's smart. Like, he's smarter than most of the doctors I'd worked with in my career. Definitely his cognitive thinking, critical thinking, was probably the highest I'd seen from a intellectual perspective. And so, his dad's a veterinarian. His parents ran a really top integrative veterinarian practice that had even huge animals. And I also had a good friend when I grew up whose dad was a veterinarian. People don't know this, but in the United States, it's a lot harder to get into veterinarian school than to get into medical school, because they have very limited spaces, and to pass that school in the United States, you have to know everything about all the animals, not just a human body. So when I met you, I right away knew how smart you were. No one had to tell me. Not only do you understand the human body, you understand animals. So it's been a privilege to work with you.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Alina Lessenich. I'm the veterinarian, and I worked with sports horses for years and years. I do have a PhD in neuroscience, though, about a Parkinson's model, so I am into brain health a lot. And then when COVID came around, and when the vaccines came out, I thought, oh, we're going to have a problem. So that's when I actually closed my veterinary practice, and I wrote a detox protocol for the COVID vaccine and for shedding symptoms, which has been downloaded over 1.5 million times by now. What I've been focusing on the last couple of months basically is neuroinflammation and mitochondriopathy, because that's what we are now seeing after the COVID vaccination and with long COVID, of course. Because the spike protein, it goes into the brain, it actually kills brain cells, it leads to neuroinflammation, it destroys mitochondria, which are producing our energy basically. So people go and see their doctors because they are fatigued, they've got brain fog, they've got headaches, sleep disturbances, anxiety, depression, all these kind of symptoms.
I have anxiety just being this close to you.
Well, you shouldn't have.
Is everybody hearing what she's saying?
We'll sort that out later. Okay?
Yes, okay. I'm standing up here on stage listening to this, and I'm just blown away by all of you so far. But I'm sitting here going like, she retired as a veterinarian during COVID in order to do this. It's amazing. It's literally like I'm sitting up here with chills listening to all of you, and it's just so humbling to be here and to like hear all this. Sorry, continue. I had to make sure we were all paying attention.
Yeah, okay. So where was I? So yeah, that's what we're seeing after the vaccination, after long COVID. So people go to see their doctors, and the doctors say there's nothing wrong with you. It's just psychological, basically. But it's not psychological, it's a physical problem, because they've got this inflammation, they don't have the energy, they can't think straight. Their neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, they are being destroyed by the spike protein as well. So it feels like Christina actually designed these products especially for this indication, because the Trinity plus MDS, it all helps with these problems. It gets rid of the inflammation, because you've got, like in Zero In and in Restore, you've got curcumin, which actually brings down inflammation, but it also helps increase your neurotransmitters. It's a MAO inhibitor. It helps the neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine, work longer, more effectively, because they're not being degenerated, basically. And then it also, Zero In helps with building new serotonin, building new dopamine in the brain. MDS helps with mitochondrial function. So it actually works. We see a lot of people, it takes sometimes a couple of weeks to a couple of months, but these people, they can think straight again, they're feeling a lot better, and they get their neurological function back. And the sleep disturbance is actually because of the melatonin, because the pineal gland is getting a problem as well, and serotonin is then converted to melatonin inside of the pineal gland, and if that doesn't work any longer, of course they cannot sleep. So that is the next thing I'm now concentrating on, is the pineal gland. Because it not only helps our physical health, it's important for our, like I said, our sleep cycle, important for its melatonin is working as an anti-agent in our bodies, and also it's really important for our mental, emotional and spiritual health. And I'm thinking that's why some people want the pineal gland destroyed, because then they can manipulate us, basically. But with especially Clean Slate, we are getting the feedback from our community. Lots of people, they can remember their dreams now. They're dreaming more vividly, which is a sign of an active pineal gland, basically. And also, I actually had one woman writing to us. She said she was clairvoyant when she was about in her 20s, or as a young girl and up to her 20s. And then she lost this. But then after taking Clean Slate, after like 2 or 3 weeks, she actually said, I'm clairvoyant again, and she was in her 60s at that point. So that is a clear sign to me that the pineal gland is being reactivated, being detoxed, being decalcified and starts working again, which means we're getting back our physical health and our mental, emotional, spiritual health, which means we are no longer being controlled, but we can think straight again, we are being our own person again. And my next big protocol will be about mitochondriopathy, because the mitochondria are part of like every chronic disease, you lose mitochondria, you lose the mitochondria function, the mitochondria, they die, they are being destroyed, and then also the cells are dying because mitochondria are responsible for apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. So once you lose your mitochondria, you lose your cells, meaning even a heart where you think it's a structural problem, it isn't. It's a problem of the cardiac metabolism, because you got less cells, you got less energy in the heart. So if you reactivate the mitochondria and their function, actually you can get rid of heart problems. You can get people from the heart transplant list. They no longer need a heart transplantation because the heart is working again. So all these kind of health situations, vaccination, long COVID, mitochondriopathy, all types of chronic diseases, pineal gland. Yeah, well, your products are just amazing because they work and they help us activate the whole body again and give us back the energy and our health. So I'm totally happy about these products, and we're getting lots of feedback from our community, and of course about autism and Parkinson's disease. So we got personal stories about people with Parkinson's that are feeling so much better, that can stop taking their Parkinson's medication. So it's just, it's so much joy with your product. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, I have to say this, when all this was happening, because we've both talked about this, I studied neurotransmission, and right away, because I thought the first 3 were what I thought was important during this time, but I right away knew that we had to protect the mitochondria, but it took a while to stabilize, and I actually, since I'm little, when I close my eyes, I focus, your pineal gland, there's a white, pin-like light you can see. A lot of people don't know that, but if it's working right, you can see it, right? And I try not to tell people that, because then they're like, wait a minute, I don't see that. And that's why meditation is so important. That's why, detoxification, cleaning is so important. It's really important that you're in contact with what is happening, and our subconscious actually controls about 80%. We only are aware of 10 to 20% of our capability. So as an artist that's also a scientist, I understood that what was happening, because all of a sudden I couldn't see it. And all of a sudden I stopped dreaming. And my dreams have always come true, or I've made formulas for them. So I started concentrating more and more and more, but I wasn't getting the results I used to have. And I realized definitely that our mitochondria was being attacked. I don't want to talk too much about it because then I'll be attacked, but it was really important that all of you guys had it. I would prefer everyone take it 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Joy, for example, with artists like us, it's extremely important. With people, it's extremely important. You want to be able to think. You want to be who you are. That's important. So if you can't see it when you close your eyes, sometimes it'll take you about an hour. I meditate or pray an hour in the morning, an hour at night. Sometimes it'll take that long before you can clearly see it. If you aren't, you need to take more mitochondria shield. And you really need to get there, because it's important that you are the person you're supposed to be. There's only one you. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish. Having 1.5 million downloads and your education and what you've done is incredible. Absolutely. And we have not utilized any of you guys enough. And who brought you to the group? Who introduced you?
It was Verena, but actually at the same time another doctor, and she was testing your product. But then I decided to work with Verena, and I'm totally happy that I did. So thank you, Verena.
Thank you, Verena. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Verena is really happy as well.
Yeah.
As I sit in the back and watch.
Yeah. So Dr. Keshkesh is going to end it. I am going to ask him a question different from yours. First of all, I am doing something in the Middle East where it's called Root for Women. And we're also going to encourage younger teenagers. So I sat in a meeting and they asked what we could do that would help high school and college students. And I said we will take some of the doctors and International Science Nutrition Society and in the Root community, and we can create a mentorship program. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. How many of you guys will help me with this project? Please raise your hand. I need all of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to assign a person that you guys will help mentor. This will also help us get this information out in the Middle East, and they need you guys. STEM research, STEM science is lacking, especially in females, just so you all know, even in the United States. So the ability that we have to touch people is extremely important. And I always say this, whether you're a man or a woman, you should help everyone, right? Men and women. So we've got to be there for each other. We've got to forget which countries we're from. I always say this, God doesn't see a border. He also doesn't see a diploma. He sees us as people. So we've got to be mentors. We've got to help. And again, not just on the science side. So the second question they asked me in this meeting, we had the people from the UN in the meeting as well, is can you help from a business perspective? And I said, absolutely, I will hand that over to my business partners. So we have not had time to download, but Ted, Patrick, and Clayton will be organizing you guys to help on that area as well. We go back on October 15th or 16th, something like that, and we will be stepping in to help people with these projects. So I just wanted to say that. So my question to Dr. Keshkesh is, how do you feel, Dr. Keshkesh, about working with these individuals and helping roll out CTC to the other individuals in the world? Because these are the people, as well as some of the people in the audience, that will help you do it.
Yes.
Most ez az első alkalom, hogy így találkozunk, már így, hogy személyesen. Igen, ez a doktor to doktor call, ez egy nagyon, hogy is mondjam, nekem nagyon tetszik, és ez egy nagyon jó érzés, hogy hát másoktól is hasonló tapasztalatokat hallok, illetve hát ki tudjuk egészíteni az egymás tapasztalatát, mondjuk így a szakember a szakemberrel.
Yes, it is absolutely great, and this is the fantastic opportunity that finally we can meet personally from of course, the scientific side. And actually, I'm really relieved that I can get the reassurance from you and from your experience. Of course, you have all different experiences. You're working with your patients, and you have specific knowledge from specific areas. And I think this is something that we can just add together that can help to grow this society, and of course to help other doctors.
Can I ask a question as we go around?
Yes, but we have limited time.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the guys that really don't want to talk are next.
Okay, well.
I want this to go back around so everybody can answer this, because this goes to your last comment. So you have a bunch of practitioners here that have helped actually a lot of people. But there's two aspects, right? There's the care and improving lives, but then there's also the care for yourselves, of taking care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of your house, you can't take care of others. So I know 4 of you have some experience on this, but as Dr. Ram was just mentioning, the business side. Can you guys speak to your experience from a business aspect of what you've seen from a reward perspective on how the financial implications of actually taking care of your clients or your patients is working with each of you as well?
Hey, Clay, can we turn the cameras off then if we're going to do that? Because I need to utilize, the doctors need to be utilized. I know, but the phones and everything. Because,
Oh yeah, if you're recording this, turn them off.
Because these doctors are going to end up being examples throughout the world.